didn't know me and saw me walking past you in a store with a gun on my hip, would you be afraid, or would the presence of my gun make you feel more safe? I know when I see someone out with their gun, I feel more safe. Last semester, when the active shooter alarm went off at my college, I felt way more protected when 3 other students along with me pulled out their gun. Thankfully, we were later told it was just a drill, but had there have actually been a shooter, he wouldn't have stood a chance with all of us carrying the same kind of assaulting power. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, between 1950 and May 2008, 97.8% of mass public shootings have occurred in gun-free zones. 4 of the 5 deadliest mass public shootings in U.S. history have occurred in the last 5 years. The attack at a music festival in Las Vegas where 58 people died. At a nightclub in Orlando, Florida in 2016 where 49 people died. At Virginia Tech in 2007 where 32 people died. At Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut in 2012 where 27 people died. And at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas where 26 people died. What do they all have in common? They were gun-free zones. Obviously, a mass shooter isn't going to target somewhere that they know there will be retaliation. Knowing this, wouldn't the United States be safer if all 50 states enacted constitutional open carry for all public places? I have a carry permit, but according to the National Rifle Association, with all the legalities, classes, and money in order to obtain it, most citizens who are legally allowed to own a gun choose not to get a permit. Their gun sits in the console of their car, giving criminals the upper hand in any dire situation. I was talking with my mother-in-law about this very subject just the other day. She was saying how the big "No Guns Allowed" sticker on the front door of the hospital where she works makes her feel like a target. The crime rate in Chattanooga, where she works, is staggering. According to the FBI's website, Chattanooga had 23,165 major crimes committed in 2016. As a front desk registration of a mother-baby hospital, all the guests come to her with questions, including those pertaining to the paternity of newborn babies. If the mother checks in as a confidential patient, it is a HIPAA violation to give out any information on her or the baby. My mother-in-law has been threatened several times by the baby's supposed fathers or family members. They will ask what room the patients are in, and my mother-in-law must reply that they aren't a patient at the hospital. This infuriates them because they can clearly see the patient's car out in the parking lot. Along with the threats, she has seen fights and seen police escorting people out when the nurses upstairs have called them. Calling hospital security does no good because they do not carry guns. She feels like a sitting duck, waiting for someone to get mad enough to threaten her with a gun, and she will have no way to protect herself. Again, this also makes me think about the church shooting not far from where we lived in Texas. It was a neighbor who grabbed his gun after hearing the gunfire at First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs and went over to investigate. He confronted the gunman and shot him in the leg and torso, causing the gunman to flee. The heroic neighbor was quoted as saying, "I thank my God, my Lord, protected me and gave me the skills to do what needed to be done. I just wish I could have gotten there faster." I can't help but think that if people were openly carrying in church that day, it may have intimidated him enough to keep him from carrying out this horrific act, or at the least, someone could have shot back long before the neighbor was even able to get there, and just maybe less lives would have been lost. There have been many other times that law-abiding citizens have stopped mass public shooters in their tracks. For instance, in 1997, the assistant principal of Mississippi's Pearl High School used a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol he kept in his truck to detain 16-year-old Luke Woodham after the teenager stabbed to death his mother at home and killed 2 students and injured 7 at the high school. Again, what if the principal had been wearing that gun right on his hip? Would those 2 students still be alive? A decade later, in 2007, Matthew Murray killed 4 people at Colorado Springs Church before being shot by a family member. She very well could have saved countless lives that day by stopping him. Last April, an Uber driver with a concealed carry permit shot and wounded a gunman who opened fire on a crowd of people in Chicago's Logan Square. Last September, an usher at a Tennessee church used his personal firearm to subdue a masked gunman who had already killed 1 woman in the church's parking lot and injured 6 others inside. To quote our Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This amendment is the only amendment that requires us to get permission from the government, a permit to exercise our right. The only way to get constitutional open carry in our state is to vote. Contact your state representatives and tell them that you want constitutional open carry. If these student activists can cause such an outcry for stricter gun laws, there's no reason why we can't stand up and say, no, there's a better way and it's constitutional open carry. Criminals don't follow laws. More laws are not the answer. Constitutional open carry is. Let's make America safe again.